Thank you, Madam Moderator, for the time and opportunity for me to welcome participants in this workshop. I am Rev Chikane from South Africa. I'm a co-convener of the Africa and African Diaspora Conference we held last year in October. My co-convener is Reverend Dr. Angelique Walker-Smith from Washington, USA. I am pleased to welcome all of you to this workshop, which is being held at Karlsruhe in Germany, where the WCC is holding its 11th assembly. My co-convener will give details about where this vision of the AAD comes from. Mine is just to restate the reality that unless we as people of African descent and Africans can come together and organize ourselves, redefine who we are, and find a way in which we can resist the brutality we have gone through that defined our future, which must change. We need to be able to organize ourselves to deal with the hostility, the enslavement, the colonialization, the racism that has been inflicted on us and robbed us of our interests up to date. We need to come together and rise to change the state of marginalization of Africans and people of African descent wherever they find themselves. We must demand for a radical change of the post-Second World War international governance architecture, which still persists up to today, defined in the form in which the colonialists saw the world rather than the way we see it. We must expose the lie that the wars of the imperialists were wars for freedom, because when we did join them in those wars promising us freedom, we never got our freedom. We need to expose this lie that freedom is for all when in fact it's for just the few. The indigenous people of the world are not free as they should be. Palestinians are not free. They are still occupied up to date. We must clearly say to the Western world, who were responsible for our enslavement for centuries, colonized us, robbed us of our land, that Africans and people of African descent, indigenous peoples of the world, and Palestinians have got the right to their freedoms and territorial integrity like all others. As the Ukrainians have the right to determine their future, we also have the right to determine our future. We must state clearly that justice for the powerful can only be justice if it is applied to all, including the powerless. As Martin Luther King said, justice is indivisible. God's justice can only be justice for all. Secondly, security is the same. That security can be security for the powerful and at the expense of the powerless. International security must be security for all because security is also indivisible. If this was the consideration between NATO and Russia, the war, for instance, in the Ukraine would not have happened. As Gary Corselli has said, war is a failure of humanity, a consequence of failure of leadership. Would like to say that at Berlin, when Africa was partitioned and sliced up and taken by the colonialist and imperial forces, we were not there, we were not consulted. We were colonized, we were enslaved, we were oppressed. But today, would like to say we are now here and nobody is going to slice up our future and subject us to the spheres of influence of other people. During the First World War and the Second World War, we were still colonized. Today, we are ready together to insist on our sovereign right to think for ourselves and make choices for ourselves without being dictated to. We have the right to determine our destiny. I would like to also say, during the first, second, and third industrial revolution, we missed it because we're enslaved, we're colonized, we're oppressed. Would like to say now, during the fourth industrial revolution, we are here and we're going to make sure that nobody limits us or constrains us. We're going to participate fully in determining what the future of the world is going to look like. And we should also be allowed to go beyond and ahead of others rather than be suppressed. I would like to say we are here in this workshop to ensure that we deliberate together about the future of people of African descent and Africans, the future of indigenous people of the world who have been robbed of their land and their rights, where people have interfered with their environment, and some are subjected to nuclear tests that have affected generations into the future. Would like to say that the Palestinians also have the right, like every other person, to be free. And this is what this deliberation is about. I wish you all the luck.